Have you ever noticed something deeply unfair about life? The harder you chase, the more people pull away. You send thoughtful messages, you reply fast, you show interest, and what do you get back? Silence. Hours later, a dry, effortless response. You give everything at work. You stay late. You take responsibility. You do more than what's required. Yet the recognition goes to the person who does less. The praise, the opportunities. You're always available, always helping, always saying yes. But when you're the one who needs support, no one shows up. And the most dangerous part, you think the problem is you believe you're not doing enough. So you try harder, you give more, you sacrifice more, and slowly you sink. This is a silent pattern, a cruel one. And most people never realize they're trapped inside it. Maybe you are right now. But here's a truth. Almost no one tells you. The problem is not a lack of effort. It's too much chasing. More than 2,000 years ago, Stoic philosophers understood something that modern psychology took centuries to confirm. When you depend on external validation, you lose value. When you stop chasing, things start moving toward you. It sounds like a paradox. And that's exactly why it hurts. When you don't value yourself, the world follows your lead. When you stop begging for attention, respect begins to appear. And no, this isn't about manipulation. It's not about playing games. It's not about becoming cold or heartless. It's about dignity. It's about self-respect. It's about refusing to live on emotional leftovers when you were meant to build inner strength. In the next few minutes, you're going to understand why trying too hard pushes people away, why silent desperation repels, and how the Stoics trained themselves to reverse this pattern, without arguing, without forcing, without chasing anyone. More importantly, you'll learn about a 7-day practical experiment that can completely change the way you see yourself. And as a result, the way others treat you. But listen carefully. This video is not for people looking for shortcuts. It's not for those who want to please everyone. It's for those who are tired of losing themselves just to be accepted. If you want inner strength, mental clarity, and real respect, start now. Subscribe to Stoic Iron Mind and hit the like button, because what comes next may feel uncomfortable. Let me take you back to a version of my life I don't like remembering. Not because it was dramatic, not because it was tragic, but because it was humiliating in a quiet way. I was a slave to approval. And when I say slave, I mean it literally. At work, I had a boss who never acknowledged my effort. I stayed late. I skipped breaks. I took on projects no one else wanted. I worked as if my worth depended on it. And what did I receive? Nothing. Silence. Meanwhile, the coworker who barely showed up on time received praise, recognition, opportunities. In relationships, it was worse. I was always the one who reached out first, always the one who made plans, always the one who tried harder. People showed up when they needed something and disappeared the moment I needed them. Social media? Don't even get me started. I would spend 20 minutes crafting a caption, change it 5 times, post with anxiety in my chest. What if no one likes it? What if someone judges me? I was living in a prison I built myself. And the most dangerous part, I believed the problem was that I wasn't good enough. So I tried harder, and the cycle repeated until one moment broke me. I lost an opportunity that was perfect for me. A role I was qualified for, a chance that could have changed everything. But in the interview, I was so focused on saying the right thing, so desperate to be liked, that I never showed who I really was. I didn't get it. And that pain, that was the turning point. Let me ask you something, honestly. Have you ever felt like you're giving everything and receiving crumbs? Like your energy is leaking through a hole you can't patch? If the answer is yes, stay with me. because what I'm about to share changed my life completely. I came across a line from Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher who lived nearly 2,000 years ago. He said, "In essence, if you seek to please others, you will lose your own foundation." At first, I rejected it. But don't we need to be kind? Don't relationships require effort? Then it clicked. This isn't about being selfish. It's about not needing external validation to feel valuable. That difference changes everything. Think about it. When you're desperate for attention, what are you communicating? That you don't value yourself. That you need others to confirm your worth. People feel this, not consciously, but instinctively. And what happens? They pull away. Because desperation repels and security attracts. Like a magnet, the harder you chase, the more you push. The moment you stop chasing, you begin to pull. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. They divide life into two categories. 1, what is under your control. 2, what is not. You control your actions, your thoughts, your choices, your reactions. You do not control what others think of you, whether they approve of you, whether they choose you. And here's the truth. Most people never accept. Your freedom begins the moment you stop trying to control what was never yours to control. When you stop wasting energy chasing approval, you finally have energy to build excellence. And then something strange happens. People start coming to you. Not because you begged, but because you became someone worth approaching. There's a catch no one talks about. You cannot fake self-worth. People sense it immediately. You must believe in your value. And belief is not built through affirmations. It's built through evidence. But before we build it, you need to recognize the trap you might be in right now. Let's expose it. Be honest with yourself. Sign 1. You reply instantly, even when you're busy. They take hours, and you justify it. They're probably busy, but you dropped everything. Sign 2. You always initiate conversations, plans, check-ins. If you stop, silence, and it hurts. Sign 3. You over-explain your decisions as if you need permission to live your own life. Sign 4. You feel relief when plans are canceled, because you never wanted to go, but didn't have the courage to say no. Sign 5. You're afraid to ask for what you deserve. A raise, recognition, reciprocity. So you wait, and nothing happens. Sign 6. You change who you are depending on who you're with. Different masks, no center. If you recognized yourself in 3 or more of these, you're living for external approval. And it's costing you peace, dignity, and ironically, the very respect you want. I'm not judging you. I was you. Society trains us to confuse being kind with being a doormat, but the Stoics drew a clear line. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world at his time, wrote this in his private journal. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. He didn't say control people. He didn't say manipulate outcomes. He said control yourself. And when you do, you stop needing validation. Think of your mind as a garden. If you don't choose what to plant, weeds grow by default. Inferiority, neediness, dependence, those are weeds. Self-respect, dignity, inner strength. Those must be planted intentionally. And here's the question that changes behavior. How would someone who values themselves act right now? Would they reply instantly while busy? No. Would they accept crumbs of attention? No. Would they fear saying no? No. This is not arrogance. This is dignity. It's treating yourself with the same respect you give others. And this is where everything starts to shift. Now comes the part that separates understanding from transformation. Because knowing this intellectually is not enough. You don't change your life by agreeing with ideas. You change your life by acting, especially when it feels uncomfortable. And this is where most people fail. They hear the truth, they nod, they feel inspired, and then they go back to the same behavior. The Stoics never did that. They believed one thing very clearly: action creates belief, not the other way around. So here is the experiment. 7 days, no tricks, no manipulatio. N. Just disciplined action aligned with self-respect. For the next 48 hours, you will not initiate contact. No messages, no just checking in, no likes to remind people you exist. You respond only if someone reaches out to you. This will feel uncomfortable. Your hand will reach for your phone automatically. Your mind will start creating stories. What if they forget me? What if they think I don't care? This is withdrawal. You are detoxing from approval. And here's the hard truth. People who value you will notice your absence. People who don't, won't. That's not cruelty. That's information. When someone does reach out, do not respond instantly, not as a game, but because you are busy living your life. Your attention is no longer free, and value always follows scarcity. Now you get surgical. Take a notebook or your phone and list 3 people or situations that drain your energy. The friend who only calls when they need something. The family member who only criticizes. The work situation that takes and never gives back. Now for each one, define a clear boundary. Examples: I won't respond after 9 p.m. I won't accept criticism without respect. I won't take extra work without recognition. And here's the key. You must communicate the boundary calmly and firmly. Not aggressively. Not emotionally, just clearly. You will feel fear. What if they get angry? What if they leave? Listen carefully. The right people respect boundaries. The wrong people resist them. Resistance is proof the boundary was necessary. Seneca said it best. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. Most of the fear never materializes. For the next 48 hours, you will say no at least once, where you normally say yes out of guilt. A favor you don't have time for. An invitation you don't want. A responsibility that overloads you. Say it simply: no, I'm not available. That won't work for me. No long explanations, no apologies disguised as essays. And watch what happens. The world doesn't collapse. People don't hate you. Instead, something unfamiliar appears. Freedom. This is what self-respect feels like. On the final day, before touching your phone, sit quietly for 10 minutes. Breathe deeply 3 times. Then ask yourself, what is under my control today? My actions, my attitude, my effort. What is not under my control? Opinions, outcomes, other people. Then set one intention. Today, I focus only on what depends on me. Every time anxiety appears, ask, is this under my control? If not, release it. This single practice, done daily, will change your life in 90 days. 2 things happen. One psychological, one invisible, but powerful. First, you break intermittent reward addiction. Chasing validation works like a casino. Occasional rewards keep you hooked. When you stop playing, the addiction loses power. Second, your energy changes. People can feel the difference between someone who needs them and someone who chooses them. Neediness feels heavy. Choice feels attractive. When you are complete alone, people want to add themselves to your life. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This is what he meant. This doesn't happen overnight. It's built like muscle. Every boundary builds dignity. Every honest no builds integrity. Every time you choose peace over approval, you build inner power. Visualize the worst outcome. The S. Stoics did. If they reject me, I survive. If they leave, I remain. Preparation destroys fear. And here's what happened when I applied this. At first, it felt terrifying, then peaceful. Some people disappeared, and I realized they were never really there. Others leaned in. At work, my opinion mattered. In relationships, reciprocity appeared. But the biggest change wasn't external. It was internal. I no longer needed proof that I mattered. I knew. You cannot demand respect. You don't give yourself. What you tolerate becomes your standard. What you accept becomes your reality. So the question is not, why don't people value me? The real question is, why do I accept being undervalued? Marcus Aurelius was right. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Live aligned, act with dignity. Release what you cannot control. Let's bring this home. Everything you've heard in this video comes down to one brutal, liberating truth. You don't get what you ask for in life. You get what you tolerate. If you tolerate disrespect, you normalize it. If you tolerate crumbs, you teach the world that crumbs are enough, not because people are evil, but because humans follow patterns. And the moment you change the pattern, the world adjusts. Stoicism is not about becoming cold. It's not about pushing people away. It's not about living isolated and detached from emotion. Stoicism is about inner authority. It's about knowing who you are when no one is watching. It's about acting with dignity even when approval is absent. It's about being rooted in your values so deeply that praise and rejection no longer control you. The Stoics understood something most people never do. True power is not influence over others. It's mastery over yourself. When your peace depends on likes, responses, recognition, or validation, you are not free. You are reacting. You are chasing. You are negotiating your worth. But the moment your self-respect becomes non-negotiable, everything shifts. You stop explaining yourself. You stop over-giving. You stop chasing people who don't choose you. And paradoxically, that's when respect appears. Not because you demanded it, but because you embodied it. Remember this. You don't need to prove your value. You need to live in alignment with it. Every boundary you set is a declaration. Every honest no is an act of courage. Every time you choose peace over approval, you forge inner strength. This is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming intentional. Some days you'll slip. Some days you'll doubt. That's human. What matters is that you return, again and again, to self-respect. As Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journal, not for applause, not for followers, but for himself, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one, that is Stoic Iron Mind. If you made it this far, thank you. Not just for watching, but for choosing to invest this time in yourself. Time is the one thing you never get back, and you chose growth over distraction. That already says something about who you are becoming. If this message resonated, if it put words to something you've been feeling but couldn't explain, subscribe to Stoic Iron Mind.